The WWE doesn't build stars anymore. What they do is they grow them in a family tree. You look at the entire roster today and you're left wondering to yourself, not only where are the new superstars that will carry the torch, be the next big thing, but at the same time, why are we only depending on Nepo babies? I mean, whether it is Dominic Mysterio, Braun Breaker, Charlotte Flair, Solo Sikoa, Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso, Jacob Fatu, Cody Rhodes, or even the tribal perfect chief, aka the man with the perfect eyes, the perfect beard, the perfect hair, the perfect chest, the perfect back, the perfect neck, the perfect biceps, the perfect triceps, the perfect forearms, the perfect hands, the perfect nails, the perfect fingers, the perfect knuckles, the perfect toes, the perfect soles, the perfect ankles, the perfect shins, the perfect knees, the perfect quads, the perfect fieso male with the bloodline is cooking. Anyways, so that is really what I want to talk about with you guys today. There is actually a lack of not only appreciation for new talents outside of the business, like guys like LA Knights, Karrion Kross, right? These guys are not getting their fair share. I mean, whether it is Knight, Cross, Chad Gable, Ricochet, for even, you know what I'm saying? Like all these guys, it seems like when you are entering the business that is not with the family, then you start to have a lot of big problems. Now for me, I have a question. Why have people be in NXT if by the time you bring them back up to the main roster, right? And all the success they had in NXT is also forgotten, right? I mean, guys like Karrion Kross, they were NXT champions, but they go to the main card, even under Triple H, you know, they start losing and getting buried. I mean, there should be no reason why a guy like Kross, who is over with the fans, should not get a respectable push. I mean, don't you want new stars? Whether or not you think Karrion Kross is good or bad is besides the point. The fact of the matter is, he was a new guy on the PLE, right? I think he had his first match against Sami Zayn at Night of Champions. That was his first PLE match, one-on-one. And that is a big opportunity. He was in front of Sami Zayn's home crowd. Why not go in there and just brutalize Sami Zayn, take him out, injure him, break his neck with like, you know, one of those like knee locks that Karrion Kross does on the bats? That's the perfect opportunity, right? Enter him in the conversation of new talent. But no, what did we get instead? Oh yeah, we're gonna have Sami Zayn go over because why? I mean, what? Like he wins and what does that add? Like, did we get Sami Zayn into a spot that he wasn't in? Like, was that victory the reason why Sami Zayn entered the WWE? No, because he was already here for 10 years. This genuinely reminds me of when like DC or Marvel, they go out of their way and they just reboot Batman and they reboot Superman and they reboot old franchises because, you know, it's a tried and, you know, successful method. But let me tell you this, when was wrestling all about tried and true methods? I mean, if you guys remember back in the golden age, right? Back when Hogan was there. Let me make you guys a list, okay? Let me show you guys what it was back then. There wasn't this type of nepotism, all right? In the golden era, right, we had Hulk Hogan. He had no family connections. Ultimate Warrior, no family connections. Michaels, right, Shawn Michaels, nope. The Undertaker, nope. Ric Flair, nope. Andre the Giant, nope. Roddy Piper, nope. Stone Cold Steve Austin, nope. Triple H, Mick Foley, Kane, Big Show, Kurt Angle, you know? Nobody have family connections. And then if you want to like move into another generation, we have, for example, John Cena, Brock Lesnar, Edge, Batista, Booker T, right? I mean, even today, CM Punk, Sheamus, Miz, like these are, I mean, Rollins, right? AJ Styles even, Drew McIntyre. These are all guys that have been able to get themselves into the WWE. But like I said, those are the names of the past. Like all the guys I just mentioned, guess how old they are? Like most of them are already retired or dead. And like in the later eras, like CM Punk, McIntyre, Booker T, you know, like all these guys, 45 years old, 46. Some of them are about to retire. AJ Styles, he said, as soon as I turn 50 years old, I'm done. And what is the replacement? I mean, AJ Styles is what, like 46 years old, 47 years old? Like he got my like 3-4 more years. How old is CM Punk? 46, 47. Come on, he's going to be 50 as well. And I don't understand why it is only in wrestling where we can look at an athlete, right? Because these guys are athletes, you know, you can say whatever you want, but wrestling is sports entertainment, but these guys are athletes, okay? So why is it that all of a sudden when it comes to wrestling, oh yeah, don't worry about it. You know, when they're 40 years old, you're still a baby. You're still a baby. Karrion Kross is 40 years old and he still hasn't made a name for himself in WWE. Are you kidding me? So are you talking to me about the future of the business or what is best for business right now? Because I want to talk about the future, right? I want to talk about who's going to main event WrestleMania. And the fact of the matter is, as soon as the vision comes out and they're praising Dominic Mysterio and Braun Breaker, like, oh yeah, you will be the future headliner of WrestleMania. Are you saying that because the talent is that undeniable, or is the talent just so shallow, right? The pool of talent is so shallow that you have to force all of that onto those two guys. I mean, think about it. Let's just go back 20 years, right? Let's just go skip back 2 generations, right? Let's go look at 2005. Look, you had OVW, right? That was the year of Batista, Cena, Orton, Brock Lesnar. And they have went on one of the most important runs in the history of the WWE. All of those guys respectively have become main eventers themselves. But at the same time, you skip forward 20 years, and guess what the hell we are doing? Cena, Brock Lesnar, CM Punk, Randy Orton. Are you kidding me? Are you genuinely kidding me? This is literally 20 years later, and we're still relying on those guys? The future of the business is in shambles, all right? Not to mention the whole Samoan problem, right? I have nothing against Samoans look, I love Samoans, right? But when I say Samoan issue, it is strictly in the confines of WWE and their talent pool and what they rely on. Look, there is no question, there is no denying that the Usos are one of the best tag teams of all time. Roman Reigns, one of the most important main eventers in the company's history. Jacob Fatu, one of the best breakout stars in the last 5 years, right? But you can't tell me that we need JC Mateo, Tama Tonga. Hell, Solo Sikoa. Shit. Look, I love Solo's chubby cheeks, you know what I'm saying? I love that muffin top, but I love him for the wrong reasons. You know what I'm saying? I don't love him because he's a convincing wrestler. I just love him because he's just a comedy act. So, in that regard, is he really that important either? No. And the fact of the matter is, all those guys that I just mentioned to be not important are all in the WWE. Why? Because they have family ties. So, then the question becomes, what about the people, right, that don't have the family ties? Where are they gonna go? Where are they? And the fact of the matter is this. No matter how much you want to glaze NXT right now as it stands has not produced a new star. And they have been around for 10 years, right? If you want to be that nitpicky, I guess you can say they, produced Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns and maybe Dean. But the thing is this, Rollins and Ambrose, these guys were indie darlings as it was at the time, right? Like Rollins was a Ring of Honor champion. So look, he didn't really necessarily become from Green to Rollins through the WWE. And that is what the WWE likes. They don't like outsiders. I mean, do you guys remember when Samoa Joe was in NXT and then he went up to the main roster? Dude, I loved that. I really loved when NXT was black and gold, that first generation of NXT. I mean, not first generation, not when they were doing the games, the tryout games with Nexus, but the second generation, I guess, right? When they became their own brand. Dude, they had Nakamura in there. They have Finn Balor, who just came from Bullet Club. Samoa Joe, Bobby Roode. I mean, look, it was just literally packed, right? That was when NXT was golden. And that is when I was actually tuning more into the NXT than actually, the main roster, because at that time I didn't mess with the main roster at all. Look, I had a good long stretch where I didn't follow wrestling on a week-to-week basis for about 7-8 years, maybe let's just say 10 to round it up, right? As soon as Roman Reigns he got to the main event slot, right? As soon as that happened, I was like, all right, bro, I can't really fuck with this no more, right? And then WrestleMania 30 happened. I saw Rollins cash in. I followed that. I really fucked with it. But as soon as Rollins went in there and he got pedigreed by Triple H and he got betrayed and he went on a whole feud where he lost the curb stomp, I was like, I don't really like this anymore. And I liked the match that they had to settle the feud, but after that, I mean, come on, man. That part of the WWE was completely trash. So I had a long stretch where I didn't watch it. And right now, it screams to me that is going to be happening all over again. Why? You tell me, come on, look at the future of the business. You look around, LA Knight, 42 years old, Damian Priest, 40, Karrion Kross, 40, CM Punk, 45, 46, John Cena, 46. Who else is there, man? Come on, Randy Orton is already in his 40s, about to retire. AJ Styles out there. Who are, aside from those guys, who do we have in the main event slot? Come on. It's been the same rotation for the last 10 years. And they're getting one foot out of the door now. Cena is gone, Roman is gone. Nobody wants to carry the torch forward. And then we have to rely on on these scrubs. Like, as much as I want to hate on Gunther is only a reflection of how bad the current state of the WWE is for him to be looked at, oh my god, he is the guy. Are you kidding me? Look, I've gone from hating Gunther to actually as a character in the ring to now I'm kind of fond of him because I like to make fun of the ring general Jey Uso when I get you in the middle of that ring. It will be 1, 2, 3. Right? I love that about him. It's goofy, but I love him for the wrong reasons, just like Solo Sikoa, right? So I want to say that when you look at him, he's not the quality of a world champion that we used to have back in. Bro, do you remember 2005 Batista? That world heavyweight champion, that big gold plate looked amazing on him. But now you look at somebody like Gunther, he wears it and you think to yourself, God damn, what happened here? Right? That is not the look that you want to have. And right now, we are in that position all over again. We are in a position where we have champions that we don't really want to have as champions, but we just have to have them as champions because somebody has to fill the slot. Come on, Jey Uso, after being in the company for 10 years, 15 years, right? He finally gets a breakout year in 2025? Are you kidding me? Right? What happened with the entire, what happened up until the point where Jey Uso got over? Are you telling me every single year from 2010, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, all the way up until 2025, there was that much competition for somebody like Jey Uso to not even crack the main event slot, and all of a sudden, the main event slot and the main event scene, it tapers away, and he gets elevated by Roman Reigns in the bloodline, and only then can he enter and have his own little feud going at the main event level? Why is that? Don't you think it's all part of the reason why nepotism is rising? Because the competition has become only about people in the company. There hasn't been a new influx of new talent that they have to compete against. It's been I'm from the bloodline Uso. Oh yeah, my father is Ric Flair. Oh yeah, my father was a wrestler. Oh yeah, this. So that is the biggest problem plaguing the WWE right now. Add on top of the whole female revolution, the week-to-week programming has gone literally down, right? I don't understand why people were complaining about SmackDown Live being 3 hours when, look, if it's 3 hours, that means there is more opportunities for people to get over on the TV. But if it's going to be 2 hours and we're going to get less male talent and just more filler female segments, then what does that even help? Nothing. We want to get to the position where we can have a 10-minute match or a 15-minute match on week-to-week programming, and it actually means something. Because that is the way that you build up talent. I mean, look, we want to say Braun Breaker is the next big thing, but he is not, okay? He is just an average guy. You put him in a talent pool of 20 years ago, and he doesn't even look like somebody that can genuinely stand out that much. Back then, you put Braun Breaker in the mix, they wouldn't be sitting here and calling him the next big thing or the main event. No, come on. Be real, all right? Be real. So, add on top of everything that I just said about the people that back in the day entered the business and became superstars without nepotism, what about today's stars, right? What about Dominic Mysterio? What about Braun Breaker? What about that's it? I swear to God, I wanna mention more names, but that's it, and that's sad. What about those two? Are they really gonna carry the WWE? Let me tell you where the WWE is going right now. Down the drain. You understand? Down the effing drain. Because not only does Triple H not care about building new stars, it is almost as if he doesn't want to waste the time to bring up new stars. You understand? The reason why Breaker and Dominic are in the positions that they are in, right? Breaker is in the main event scene. Dominic is the IC champion. The reason why they're there, to me, it screams like they don't want to go through with all the hassle that Vince McMahon loved to do, right? Vince McMahon loved to create stars. All the stars that we know of today is all because of Vince McMahon, and he built them up, right? Even John Cena and stuff like that. He built them up. But today, it feels like Triple H, he doesn't want to go through with that. And so what does he do? He relies on family ties. Come on. It's as simple as that, right? What happened to Triple H, who loved NXT, who did everything for NXT? He died by NXT. That was his baby. And as soon as the guys in NXT came up, like Adam Cole, Bobby Roode, I don't want to say Adam Cole, Bobby Roode. I really don't want to mention those names because those guys are already established. So Okay, but let's just say, for the sake of the argument, right? For the sake of the argument, Bobby Roode, Finn Balor, Nakamura, or like Samoa Joe. Like, come on. Have any of those guys main evented WrestleMania? Think about it. Really, have they? When Samoa Joe came up and he was feuding with like Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns was in there, I was like, that is the Samoan that I want to see, man. Right? Because like when he was like beefing with like Brock Lesnar for, the Great Balls of Fire pay-per-view, dude, like Roman Reigns was in the ring and he looked like a little baby, man. Like Brock and Samoa Joe going at it. That is what I want to see in wrestling, right? Look, I'm not against fat I'm not against fat people. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not against these obese wrestlers. We just gotta be convincing, right? That is why I'm advocating for like Gunther to gain all the weight back and become a meatball again, right? Because let me just be like, let you just be believable, right? Because not only today, but like essentially today, right? You have guys being less muscular. So I don't want to go out and say, okay, just because you have to be like less muscular because you're not on roids doesn't mean that you have to be less cut. So if you're going to be just in the middle and be skinny fat, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see a Jey Uso type, right? Either be like Rikishi, Yokozuna, Samoa Joe, be fat all the way, or just don't be fat at all and be skinny like, like Finn Balor and like Ludwig Kaiser. At least be shredded. I don't know how I went on that tangent, but anyway, let's just go back and reel back in. So like when Samoa Joe, right, he came up from NXT and he was challenging Brock Lesnar. That is what I wanted to see because it's a new name. It's a fresh scene. He was dominant in NXT and so he had a competitive match with Brock Lesnar. That is great. That is what that is what I love to see. Kevin Owens, he was dominant in NXT. He came up and he challenged John Cena and he beat him. Right? That is what I want to see. That is what you want to do. You don't want, somebody like Karrion Kross, former NXT champion, to come up and all of a sudden eat one Helluva Kick at Night of Champions and get beaten, right? And then a month later at SummerSlam, he gets beaten again. And then he gets cut. What is the point? Where is the talent that you can create? For example, Chad Gable. Chad Gable, he is obviously not a Nepo baby. And maybe that is why he's not like actually over. They literally told the guy, guess what, man, Chad Gable, you're like essentially a veteran in the WWE, but you haven't done anything. Guess what? We're going to put a damn mask on you and get over that way. And all of a sudden, El Grande Americano enters the picture, and he's more over with a freaking mask than without it. And guess what? He gets injured. But the thing is, the mask still has to live on. So what happens? Ludwig Kaiser picks up the mask. Poor Ludwig Kaiser. That's also a burial. And he gets El Grande Americano over as well. And look at the situation that we're now in, right? You had a veteran like Chad Gable who put his entire life and soul into the WWE. He tried to go in there and make something good happen out of El Grande Americano. He did. And he gets injured. They moved the hell on from him. Now, do you think Chad Gable is going to get a proper push in the main event scene? Hell no. What about somebody like LA Knight, who has been in here for years and years, and he hasn't gotten a push, I haven't seen LA Knight's rise. Like I said, it was a long stretch where I didn't watch wrestling, and it's like, I'll tell you guys this way, I never watched weekly, like week-to-week live SmackDown or Raw, aside from like the big milestone ones. I watched like the PLEs and stuff like that, but week-to-week programming I never did because I didn't have Peacock or USA Network. Yeah, okay, look, bro. You know what I'm saying? I was a brokey, but as soon as they came out and said we're going to be on Netflix globally, guess what? VPN turned on, boom, I'm watching everything, Raw, SmackDown, on a week-to-week basis. So ever since January, I've been watching weekly shows, Monday Night Raw, SmackDown Live, every single week. And I gotta say, now it becomes clear to me why people like LA Knight and why they want to have him go behind him and push him forward. Because right now, I am one of you guys now. You understand? I am those guys that watch SmackDown and Raw. I understand where you guys are coming from. But from the outside looking in, you're thinking to yourself, what is this Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock wannabe guy? So that becomes the visual that the WWE has of him. Because do you really think the bookers and things of that nature, like the backstage guys, the guys in the suits, they actually watch week-to-week programming? Like, I know it's their job, but it clearly doesn't feel like it because every single week they come out and they retcon old plot lines and they just forget about everything. Like what happened with Truth? What happened with Priest and Aleister Black? What happened with Priest and Drew McIntyre? So on a week-to-week basis, these guys, they don't care about somebody like LA Knight. We do. We care about Cross. We want Cross. And guess what? You want Brock? You got him. That is what they think. And that is why there is a big problem with the talent pool, because LA Knight is not from a certain family. You understand? He's not a Nepo baby. Because LA Knight, he was in the WWE 10 years ago, 13 years ago. Like, he was there as a bodyguard for CM Punk when he was feuding with John Cena. He has been trying to get his lick into the main event slot for years. And I'm thinking to myself, look, this guy is clearly over with your core audience. How about you treat him properly? How about you treat him well? And you give him a main event slot, and you give him something that he can work with, because he will do his damnedest. These guys like CM Punk or Roman Reigns or John Cena, like, you know, like the typical main eventers, Cody Rhodes, they don't care anymore. Cody Rhodes, he films a move. Look, like, I don't understand. Like, why the hell did Cody Rhodes win the WWE Championship at SummerSlam just to get gone again for 3-4 months? I mean, 3-4 weeks. Come on. John Cena is already a part-timer. Roman Reigns, part-timer. Who do we have? Seth Rollins. Come on, man. It's cross-dresser with see-through leggings. Come on. Let's be real. These guys have been camping the main event slot for so many years. They don't care anymore, right? They don't have that excitement no more. But somebody like Cross, somebody like LA Knight, they want to prove something. They want to go out of their way and create storylines that are compelling, that we can care for. But no, you don't want to commit with him. You don't want to commit with LA Knight. Yeah, you gave him a United States Championship, but let me tell you something. Let me talk to you. Yeah. How about you be real about that title run? You only put the title on him so you can get it off of him and put it on Jacob Fatu. I love Jacob Fatu, right? He's been through it all, right? He came from the streets, prison, yada, yada, yada. He's been through it all. I love Jacob. But you can't deny that it's also, unfortunately, very coincidental that he is once again related to the bloodline, and he's also a Nepo baby. Look, I don't want to say it, but it's the truth. Like, sometimes, like I'm not saying all Nepo babies are bad. I'm saying, look, it's just coincidental that guys that are top stars are Nepo babies. Now, you could say, yeah, you know, LA Knight, you know, he got a shot at Clash at Paris in a Fatal 4-Way. Are you kidding me? Fatal 4-Way? The guy literally beat, like Seth Rollins at Saturday Night's Main Event, and that whole thing was a work. You understand? He beat Seth Rollins when he faked that energy, like 1, 2, 3, right? He pinned him at that night, and he didn't even get a shot at SummerSlam. Like, he didn't even compete at SummerSlam. So they're screwing him over big time. And now they put him in a match at Clash at Paris in a Fatal 4-Way. And like, come on. Like, we knew going into that pay-per-view that he wasn't going to win. I mean, are you kidding me? Seth Rollins' first title defense is going to be a Fatal 4-Way. And we're going to put LA Knight in there and say, yeah, you know, look, LA Knight, you beat Seth Rollins. You know, we give you a shot at a championship in a Fatal 4-Way. Yeah, and then what? He's going to go in there, turn heel, wrestle CM Punk, and then call it a day? Come on. Come on, you guys. How disrespectful. I'm genuinely sickened to my core looking at like today's entire product, because like, honestly speaking, right, when I turn on WWE programming, I don't want to freaking look at female segments. You know what I'm saying? Like, look, I have a few favorites in the female division. I think there are like great talent. But to treat it like a 50-50 dynamic is completely ludicrous. That is not what wrestling is about. Look back at the Attitude Era. Name me one Attitude Era female match right now. Name me one female match from the Attitude Era. How about the PG, Ruthless Aggression Era? How about that? How about maybe not the 2010s, because like they had landed on WrestleMania, but like up until 2015. Go on. Oh yeah, but they didn't get a shot. So? You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, bro. Come on. Wrestling has always been about the male talent. And I'm not sure why in football and basketball and soccer, right? It is all like just focused, like, you know what I mean? Like golf. It's all focused on the male talent. But for some reason, right? Just because there are like a bunch of neckbeard fucking like IWC motherfuckers in here that want to act like, yeah, like these weird ass motherfuckers. All of a sudden, we got to act like the sport has been 50-50 all along. No, not even the UFC is like that. I mean, come on. There's like golden eras and golden rushes in any sport, right? When Ronda Rousey was in the UFC, come on, like I tuned into her stuff a lot because it was just great, like, promotion. You can't deny it. It was great matches. She knocked people out quick. She tapped people out quick, right? Come on, you can't deny it. But right now, when you tune into SmackDown and Raw, and it's sometimes 60% female matches, brother, come on, let's be real here. It doesn't work. And what you're doing is, like, I don't want to take away food from anybody. And honestly speaking, they have as much right as the male talent to get their work in and get over and create storylines. But me, I am being a realist, and I'm speaking from my perspective, which I'm sure a lot of people share, that when it comes to wrestling, I want to see guys who are 6'2" up, 225 pounds up, lean muscle tissue, dominant looking alpha species wrestling in the ring. Look, I'm already burying the entire male talent as it is right now. Look, I'm not being like, any type of way. I'm being equally as harsh on both sides, right? How do we go from having strong muscular types like Batista, Lesnar to all of a sudden have flabby belly wrestlers like Gunther and Jey Uso, while at the female division, all of a sudden, they've turned into fucking China? Every single one of them has turned into China. Jade Cargill has turned into China. EST has turned into China. Ivy Nile. Like, come on. Like, how did the women become more muscular than the men? Like, look, that's a whole different story. Let's just reel the conversation back a little bit and focus on the main issue at hand. When you tune into weekly programming and it's 60% females, what are the odds you're going to create new stars? You don't. And what are the odds of non-nepotism wrestlers getting a shot, getting a break-in? None. Literally none. Because you look at PLEs today, right? They're 2 nights, so you'd think there's going to be more talent on the line. No, it isn't. And also, you have this over-reliance on these like clip farming moments. When did wrestling become like a joke spectacle? Like, wrestling has always carried this tone of, let's be serious. Let's carry this thing forward as if it's real. As soon as you have Logan Paul enter the Elimination Chamber and he's drawing like stick figurines on the plexiglass, and yeah, look, you have 100 million views on Instagram Reels. Okay. It becomes like a joke, all right? When you're inviting people like Drewski, Cardi B to SummerSlam, or like Travis Scott, like, you're trying to appeal to the clip farm, normie, hip-hop, R&B type of niche, but that is not our niche. Those people watch basketball, bro. They don't care about us, right? They don't care. Like, appeal to your audience, but they don't, right? Let alone appeal to the fans. They don't even appeal to their own wrestlers. How many wrestlers right now are in the WWE, like Apollo Crews or Omos? Like, I can go through the WWE website right now and look at the talent, and I can tell you right now, a lot of them aren't even on weekly programming. So what is even done with them, right? The thing about Karrion Kross is this. It's really unfortunate for me to say this, but he's lucky to have even gotten screen time. It really is sad to say that, because it is true. He's lucky to get screen time, because as it stands right now, even the supposed big names, they don't even get screen time. I mean, come on, let me tell you what weekly Raw is like. It opens up the show, and whoever's on the poster that day is going to open up the show. If it's Cena, he's going to open up and cut a promo. If it's Roman, he's going to open up and cut a promo. They're going to get, like, intercepted by division. They're going to have like a brawl or a tease, yada, yada, yada. And then the immediate next segment is going to be a female tag match, or a female match that nobody cares about. And then we're going to pan into the Judgment Day, and then they're going to have like their little backstage skit. And then the Judgment Day, either it's going to be Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez wrestling in a tag match, or it's going to be Finn Balor and JD McDonough wrestling in a tag match, or it's going to be, I mean, let's be real. Dominic Mysterio, he doesn't even wrestle. Even like Nepo babies like Dominic Mysterio, who has a title right now, he's not even wrestling on a week-to-week basis. That guy should be wrestling every single week defending that title, but he isn't. It's a joke, right? Aside from that, let's move on, right? If it's not that, then we're gonna have maybe like a stupid like throwaway match like Penta versus, I don't know, like, Penta versus somebody. If it's not Penta, it's Rey Fenix. If it's not Rey Fenix, it's this. And then at the end of the night, we're gonna have like maybe John Cena or yada 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 in a match that's gonna get run in, right? The Vision's gonna run in and brutalize them and beat them up, and they're gonna stand tall, and Rollins is gonna raise the title. That is every single week. What are the odds that somebody can spawn in and create a name for themselves with that format? Zero. And even when they do, they don't like you. Even when you create your own name, they don't like it. Remember when Rusev had Rusev Day and he got over on himself? They don't like it. Remember when Cesaro got over? They don't like it. I mean, like, as much as we want to talk about Daniel Bryan, like the whole Yes Movement thing was a big deal, but it was also a little bit fabricated. And as soon as he got the title, guess what happened, bro? Like, he gets injured and he gets written off, and then he comes back, or like whatever, like up until that point, nobody cared anymore about Daniel Bryan, especially with that horrible gimmick where he had like that wooden WWE title. Come on. Karrion Kross, he got over himself. They don't like it either. they don't want you. You know what I'm saying? Zack Ryder, he got over on himself. They don't like you. And like all these names I mentioned, they're not Nepo babies. Guess what? If Dominic Mysterio did this, they'd be all over him. If Braun Breaker did it, they'd be all over him. You know what I'm saying? So that is the big issue right now as it stands. The failure of making new talent at the same time. Yes, we can have Nepo babies. They're new and talented as well. But guess what? There's nobody for them to feud with. And what happens then? Oh yeah, let's just throw you in a tag match. Oh yeah, let's just throw you in a tag team. Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss. Yeah, let's just put you guys in a tag team. Oh yeah, Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. Yeah, let's just put you guys in a faction, right? That is all that happens. And my suggestion has always been this. When you are in this state in the WWE, what you got to do is you got to take away the United States Female Championship, the IC title for the Female Championship, and maybe get to the point where you can unify the female title on Raw and SmackDown together in a champion versus tag match, and then you can have one champion with 2 belts. Let's have a Roman Reigns for the female segment, right? Let's have that type of character, because then you open up so many slots, right? You can have the female tag division shine, right? Maybe have Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss get the hell out of that division for them to create some new actual tag teams, right? For the female segments and the males. You look at the male segments, come on, all these guys are a bunch of scrubs. There is nothing there. The Street Profits, Motor City Machine Guns, DIY, are you kidding me? That's it? What happened to the golden age of the tag teams where they were doing TLC matches and they were risking, like, there should be, on a week-to-week basis, a heavy push on talent that don't get enough time to have great matches and great storytelling. Like, we should be having weekly TLC matches for the tag division. We should be having weekly TLC matches, steel cage matches. We should have a lot of stakes, but we don't. You understand? We don't. And that is what makes me sick to my stomach. It makes me sick to my stomach because I want to see this product be great. I don't want to fall out again. I love wrestling. I've been watching since I was a little kid. I've played every single game, right? From SmackDown versus Raw, the first one, up until the last one, up until like WWE 12, 13, 2K14, 15, 16. Like, I've played every single one. I've been a fan for 20 years. 20 years I've been a fan. Over 20 years, right? But I don't want to see the product in the current state that it is. What right now, they want to appeal to the normie Netflix, hip-hop, fucking TikTok, fucking clip farm ass motherfuckers. They want to appeal to them. But your core audience, right? Like, I don't understand. Like, there's a big disconnect. You look at the talent, right? Like, you look at the black talent, for example, like, Street Profits, Choker Chain, the Fade, the Dreads, NXT, Choker Chain. Like they want to have the Choker Chain fucking, like, NBA fucking cool guy looking dudes, right? But at the same time, you pan into the fucking crowd, all you see are a bunch of white, fucking fat, obese, hillbilly net. Come on, bro. Come on. There's a big disconnect. And I don't know why, but the WWE doesn't care about us, bro. They only care about, like, selling tickets and how they look. Like, they want you to look a certain type of way for them to have, like a clip of you and put you on Netflix on the post, yada yada. And like, all you got to do is look cool, right? They only care about the WWE brand, how many deals they can secure. Like, they don't care about, like, DIY. They don't care about the Street Profits. They don't care. Like, they definitely don't care about Carmelo Hayes. They definitely don't care about, like, Montez Ford. I mean, like, come on. What has wrestling become? What has it become? Because back in the day, I hate to say that, back in the day, you used to actually care about weekly programming. You understand? You used to care. Now nobody cares. Oh yeah, I'll just catch the clips. Oh yeah, I'll just watch the top 10, top 5 highlights on YouTube. Oh yeah. And the thing is this, they understand that is where most eyes come from, They know that when they, like globally right now, on a month-to-month basis, Netflix has been going down. Like, viewers for Netflix has been going down. I mean, they should be lucky to even have secured a deal with ESPN, because honestly speaking, if they saw the actual numbers, they wouldn't pay as much as they did. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're going off of, like, social media numbers and stuff like that. They don't really care about anything other than actual, like, social media numbers. They don't care about live viewers. I mean, come on. You go back like 20 years ago and you had, like, what, 3 million viewers? Like, even 10 years ago, like 3 million viewers, 4 million viewers, 2 million viewers. They don't even crack that now. They don't even crack it. Yeah, it's a different world, different TV spectacles, like no more cable TV. Everything is on, like, demand and yada, yada, yada. But yeah, I get it. But at the same time, what is your excuse to not really go forward and create new plot lines, create new compelling storylines for people to care, for people to tune in? I've always said it. How about you just get rid of all the bloat and you start having, like, weekly only storylines. Like storylines that begin at Monday Night Raw and finish on Monday Night Raw. And if they really, really get over, you can put them on a PLE. Because right now, they're going to have Brock Lesnar, John Cena anyway. You understand? They're going to have Drew McIntyre, Cody Rhodes anyway. So why do we really need to waste that much time on a week-to-week programming? Right? Like, why do we need Drew McIntyre to come out every single week and cut the promo on Cody Rhodes when Cody Rhodes is not there? He can cut one promo and he can disappear. And on the following weeks, we can use that like space, that time for something else. We can create something else, right? We can have R-Truth come out and further his plot line. What happened with R-Truth? He came back. It was the biggest thing on the internet. We want truth. We want truth. He's back and now he's already forgotten, right? Instead of having Drew McIntyre come out and getting RKO'd by Randy Orton, how about we just use that time and, have R-Truth go over? Like, that is one storyline that completely, solely, essentially got over on week-to-week programming. Yeah, he came back at like Money in the Bank, but aside from that, it was all on SmackDown. Everything happened on SmackDown. And that is a compelling storyline. We want to see that. So how about you go forward with that? You understand what I'm trying to say here? Instead of just completely forgetting about it. Because like, oh yeah, we're going to have a PLE, so we got to build up to that. Yeah, bro, but you can, like, you don't have to build up every single week. What about LA Knight, you guys, right? You can make something happen with him on a week-to-week programming, on a week-to-week basis. And I'm not immediately saying put a title on the line, put a minor title on the line, and put a tag. No, you can have feuds that actually carry. There are so many feuds in the history of wrestling where there wasn't a title involved, and that was bigger than a title match, So clearly titles aren't everything. It's all about the storylines. And right now, everything is more connected with one another than ever. Like, almost everybody on Monday Night Raw has something to do with the Vision and the Bloodline. Like LA Knight, Punk, Roman, like everybody has something to do with the Bloodline or the Vision, or because the Vision has the World Heavyweight Championship with the title. Like, Gunther's going to come back. Jey Uso is going to come back. LA Knight's going to come back. CM Punk is going to come back. And they all separately want their shot at the title. So what are you going to do, right? You have this much work on Monday Night Raw and that little work on SmackDown. How about you do a damn brand split and do something fun for once and actually have the people stick to them, right? Because right now on Monday Night Raw, it's so convoluted. Everything is mixed. Everybody doesn't even get enough screen time. Everybody runs in, super kicks. And you look at SmackDown Live, it's become the same damn bullshit. It's become the Bloodline 2.0 light. You know what I'm saying? The Temu version of the Bloodline. Solo Sikoa with the MFTs. Jimmy Uso and Jacob Fatu coming out and attacking Tama Tonga. Sami Zayn gets the freaking title. Like, what is going on nowadays? It doesn't make any sense no more. So, like I said, follow my tips, WWE. Before you have me fall out with weekly programming, you understand? Just like I did years ago. How about you just follow those tips, get rid of the bloat, get rid of the MFTs, get rid of the skinny fat guys, implement a few new guys that look the part that you can mold into the main event slot. Bring back guys who haven't been on TV that much, like Omos, Austin Theory. Bring them back in. Have them be involved in like a few things. Create powerful heels that actually go in there and beat people up, that don't look like goofballs and that are actually strong, that, can finally get over, right? Let's have LA Knight do some great things, be a heel, get the title, have it on him, and do something great. Let's cut back on the run-ins. Let's cut back on the factions. Let's cut back on the tag teams. Let's cut back on the female segments. And let's just focus on telling compelling stories that people care about. Right now, nobody cares about anything going on in the WWE. They barely care about John Cena and Brock Lesnar. They barely care about that. You put the title back on Cody, it's cheap. It's once again, just, let's just give it back to the Nepo baby. All right? And that's my problem here. Right now, let's just cut back on the Nepo babies. Let's just focus on the guys that you can bring in, even if they're outsiders. Bring in outsiders. They don't have to be from NXT. Bring outsiders. Make them feel like stars. You know when like Cody Rhodes came back from AEW, and all of a sudden he gets treated like like a white Okada with the vest and everything, and his presentation is on point and looks like a superstar. Treat people like that. Like, come on, do something. Bring in Kenny Omega. Right, have him be like, oh my god, the best wrestler of the, the best wrestler of the planet. Boom, like have him go in there straight into the main title picture. Either way, whether people are happy or hating, they'll watch. You understand? Bring back Jon Moxley, bring back Dean Ambrose, straight away back in the title picture. That's what you got to do, but you didn't. You know what I'm saying? You didn't do it with CM Punk. You won't do it with anybody else. And like I said, If you want the product to be better, WWE, you better listen up. Because I am the heels advocate. I'm sick of the bloodline. I'm sick of the Nepo babies. I want new talent. I want new stars. I want Cross. I want LA Knights. I want Sami Zayn out of the WWE, and I'm out.